All right, so we're doing triangles, quadrilaterals. Now we're going to look at circles just on a basic surface level. Of the three shapes, this is probably the most important one because it shows up a lot later in higher level math, and you'll do a lot with circles that you wouldn't think that you could do. So just to go over the basics, and you may already know this, but just to have it down and in writing, a circle has a few different components to it. So it's got a center, right? That's in the center of the circle. We can call that C, for example. It also has something called a diameter. So if I go from one end of the circle through the center directly to the other end like that, that is what's called a diameter. Has to go through the center though. All right, and then half of the diameter, right, or from the center to the edge of a circle, this is what's called the radius. And so you use both of these kind of interchangeably, or one is half of the other. So and then we have the circumference. This is basically the perimeter of a circle. It gets its own special name. So if we measured the length around that circle, that would be called the circumference. One very important thing with circles, and you may already know it if you've done some digging on your own, is this concept of pi, right? And maybe you know that it's equal to 3.141592, and it's an irrational number, so it keeps on going on forever and ever and ever. Well, where does pi come from? Well, pi, if you take any circle and you divide the circumference by its diameter, you're always going to get pi. So I challenge you, take a ruler or a tape measure and go measure the diameter of a circle, take a string, measure the circumference of it, divide those two numbers, you're always going to get right around 3.14-ish, right? It's not going to be exact, but it will be right around that number always. So if we rearranged this equation, maybe if I multiplied both sides by d so that these two could cancel out, I now have an expression. I have this this equation written, solved for the circumference. So we have a formula for the circumference, and that is C is equal to pi times d. Or if we wanted to write it in terms of the radius, well, the diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. So I can just replace that and say, hey, this circumference is equal to pi times 2r, or more commonly written, we can write it as C is equal to 2 pi r. We also get a formula for area of circles, and that's just going to be the area is equal to pi r squared. So as an example, find the area and circumference of this circle. Well, what we're given is the radius, and that's 6 centimeters. And the formula for area of a circle, right, is area is equal to pi r squared. So I'll just plug in what I know for r, which is going to be 6 squared. So area is equal to 36 pi centimeters squared. So you could leave your answer like this, and actually this probably would be the most correct, it's the most accurate. But if you wanted to multiply it out by pi, you could say that the area is about equal to 113.097 centimeters squared. So either of these two answers are correct. This one, I guess, is technically the most accurate. But if we wanted to find the circumference is equal to 2 pi r. So if I just plug 6 in for r, and then I can do 2 times 6, which is 12. So C is equal to 12 pi. Again, that is an acceptable answer and probably the most correct. But if you wanted to multiply it out, we could say that the circumference is equal to 37.699 centimeters. And remember that the circumference is just a length. I should put the units there too. It's just a length, so you're going to have centimeters as is, but area, your units are going to be squared, so centimeters squared. All right, for this one, we want to find the radius, diameter, and circumference if the area is 204.09 inches squared. So we're working backwards, right? So since we're given the area, it might be a good idea to write the formula for area of circles, which is going to be area is equal to pi r squared. And we know the area is that 204.09. So I'm going to substitute that in. 204.09 is equal to pi r squared. And we're solving for r. So I want to get r by itself. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to divide both sides by pi. And when I do that, so 204.09 divided by pi, that's going to be 64.964, we'll call it, is equal to r squared. So we want the area. We want the radius, not the radius squared. So the way that we're going to undo this r squared is to take the square root of both sides. So if we do that, we will get r is equal to 8.06 inches. So there is our radius. Now for the diameter is just twice the radius. So diameter is equal to 2 times r. So the diameter is equal to 2 times 8.06. So the diameter is equal to 16.12 centimeters. And then for the circumference, remember circumference is just the length around a circle. So circumference is equal to 2 pi r, or pi times d. And I think I'll use that one because we just found the radius, the diameter right before. So circumference is going to be equal to pi times 16.12. And again, that is a totally acceptable answer, leaving pi not multiplied into the number. But if you wanted to do that, you would get your circumference is equal to 50.643 centimeters. All right, last question. If a pizza was cut into 8 equal slices and you ate 2 of them, what area of the entire pizza did you eat? And then we're going to say the radius is equal to 7 inches. So, all right, here's the pizza. It's cut into 8 pieces, and then you ate 2 of them. So you ate maybe this one and that one. So looking at this, I see that this, or actually I should say the 2 pieces that you ate, that's 1/4 of the pizza. So that might be some helpful information moving forward. Well, maybe let's first, since we're figuring out what area of the pizza did you eat, let's figure out what the entire area of the whole pie is going to be. So the area is equal to pi r squared. We know that the radius is 7 inches, so the area is equal to pi times 7 squared. The area is equal to 7 squared is 49. 49 pi inches squared. Again, that is a totally acceptable answer, but if you wanted to multiply that in, so 49 times pi, that's going to give you 153.938 inches squared. So either of those two values are okay for the area. So this is, again, the area, either one of those, of the entire pizza. But you only ate 1/4 of the entire pizza. So 1/4 of the entire pizza just means, hey, what's the area? And then I'm going to do 1/4 of that. Remember, of means to multiply. So I'm going to do 1/4. We'll do 1/4 times the entire area of the pizza, which was 153.938 inches squared. So if I take that and multiply it by 1/4, or I could also divide it by 4, multiplying by 1/4, dividing by 4, same thing. That's going to give us 38.485 inches squared. So this is the area of 2 slices. And hopefully you're starting to pick up that these examples with pizza, or even if they're not even real world examples, the idea with these problems and the level that you're at where you're probably watching this is to break apart big problems into smaller pieces and learn how to kind of solve puzzles more or less. No one's actually going to ask you what area of a pizza did you eat. That's a stupid question, and you probably shouldn't hang out with them because they're probably pretty lame. But all of these exercises and the math that you're going through in middle school and high school, it's just preparing you to be detail-oriented, manage problems, and develop problem-solving skills. So don't think too hard about, when am I ever going to use this, right? Just go about it, do it, and eventually later on, it'll all start to make sense. And you'll realize you're actually smarter than a lot of other people because you watch this channel.